All right, welcome into the show. This is the San Francisco 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. No matter where you are, how you're tuned in, we appreciate all of you for making today's show a part of your day, and we have a great show on tap. We're going to talk about some Brandon Aiyuk trade packages that Bleacher Report put together. Some trades that I like if the Niners were to trade Aiyuk. Some trades I don't like. We're going to react to them all coming up here just around the corner. But first, you think about the Seahawks-Niners rivalry. Has a great history, very intense. Those matchups are always physical. A lot of them over the years have come down to the wire. It's not only a great rivalry inside the NFC West, it's a great rivalry inside the walls of Chat Sports, and we're having a great June sub battle. Which channel can pick up the most subscribers this month? A little bit of a lull here on the NFL calendar, but let's spice it up a little bit. Seahawks today has picked up 105 new subscribers since June 1. The Niners Report right behind them with 90. We can overtake Seattle and get that dub if you just hit that sub button right now, and you're a winner at the end of the day because then you get Niners coverage every single day. So as for these Brandon Aiyuk trade ideas, let's first start off with this. Bleacher Report putting together these trade ideas that I mentioned, and they're operating under the premise that the 49ers and Aiyuk can't strike a deal. According to Mike Silver, the Niners' asking price right now is $26 million per year, average annual value for Aiyuk. Of course, as we've talked about here on the show, a lot of that is going to come down to guaranteed money. The wide receiver market this offseason, it's flipped on its head on numerous occasions, and multiple wideouts have gotten the bag. And Aiyuk, looking around, seeing some of his counterparts across the National Football League get paid, and he's saying to himself, why am I not getting paid? I've progressively gotten better every year that I've been in the NFL. I've developed a lot since being a first-round pick in 2020, and I've gotten so good that this past year, I was a second-team All-Pro. Route running, check. Footwork, check. Deep threat for Brock Purdy. I can do that and take the top off of the defense. So Aiyuk in his camp, they think that he's worth $28 to $30 million per year. Mike Silver saying the Niners willing to go to $26 million. So it seems as though the difference between both parties, and we know the Niners, very stiff negotiators, just a couple of million. Who's going to budge, give or take? And keep in mind that Aiyuk has that fifth-year option this year in 2024 with the base salary, with that fifth-year option of $14.1 million. He could play out the remainder of his contract. Where I stand on this, you look at Aiyuk as the player. You've drafted him. You've developed him into an all-pro. He is your number one wideout. He's a better wide receiver than Deebo Samuel. You want to do everything that you can to fortify the rest of your roster and give your young franchise quarterback pieces so that he can be successful. And last year, the Aiyuk-Purdy connection was one of the best in the National Football League. Tape doesn't lie, numbers don't lie, and that great connection with Purdy, you want to continue to see that yield great results for the foreseeable future. So you've drafted him, developed him, you've seen him become the great player that you envision him becoming since you drafted him out of Arizona State. Give him $28 million per year. You know my saying, don't trade special away. Don't let special walk. Aiyuk is a special player, and if the difference is a couple of million, keep in mind, you're very smart and savvy with the cap. The NFL as a business is booming. The salary cap's going to continue to increase, so $28 million per year down the road could end up being a bargain if Aiyuk continues on this ascent. So let's take a look at these trades, and a trade could happen. I don't think it will happen, but it could if Aiyuk and the Niners can't come to an agreement on that contract. And then you think about it this way, right? Playing in that fifth-year option, $14.1 million. If we don't have any plans to extend him beyond that, let's get some value back instead of letting him walk in free agency. Then we get nothing back for a really special player. So this is the first Bleacher Report trade idea, and it's a move between the Niners and the Pittsburgh Steelers in which San Francisco would get a 2025 first-round pick, and then the young tight end Darnell Washington, who is going into his sophomore campaign, only 22 years old, and he is a massive human being. My thoughts on this Steelers trade, I've said this before, especially going into the draft, a first-round pick for Aiyuk is the starting point for me. You drafted him at 25 overall. He was a first-round pick. Now he's an all-pro. And I want that first-round pick back because I believe that's equal value, and I can use that first-round pick to draft his replacement. Now, Washington, as far as the athlete that he is, I wasn't lying when I said the dude is massive. 6'7", 264 pounds, but if I'm in these negotiations with the Pittsburgh Steelers, I don't really need a backup tight end. I like where my tight end room is at. George Kittle's still playing at an elite level. He was an all-pro last year, the only tight end in the NFL to have more than 1,000 receiving yards. And then behind him, definitely some question marks as far as the depth. But Mason Pline, a former Hooper, UDFA, I like his upside. Braden Willis had a good spring. We signed Logan Thomas as a backup. He's a viable option. He had nearly 500 receiving yards last year. Offensive line is where I need the help. I'm also not sure what type of player Darnell Washington is going to become. And I want a known commodity if I'm trading away Aiyuk. Last year, rookie campaign, I get it. He's behind Pat Freiermuth. 7 catches, 61 yards, no touchdowns to his resume, a long of 12, so not really that explosive. They would use him in goal line packages as a blocker, but that's just not going to move the needle for me. What could move the needle is this trade between the Niners and the Jets that Bleacher Report proposed, where the Niners receive a 2025 first-round pick and a 2025 second-round pick. The Jets get Aiyuk for Aaron Rodgers. Now he has Garrett Wilson. He has Aiyuk. They drafted Olu Fashanu out of Penn State. They brought in Morgan Moses. They fortified the trenches on the offensive side of the football. And that Jets offense, without Aaron Rodgers, with Zach Wilson, with bad offensive line play, which was disastrous last year, already has potential, right? You throw Aiyuk into the equation, could the Jets be one of the more intriguing teams in the AFC if they're not already? My thoughts on this Jets trade, that is some serious draft capital that you would have at your disposal, which may be an overpay, honestly, by the Jets. You give me the first-round pick, I'm cool if Aiyuk no longer wants to play with the Niners. But then, in the 2025 draft, how about the flexibility that San Francisco could have? They would have 2 1s and 2 2s. With an increasingly expensive roster, you could use that draft capital to bring in young dogs, or you could package those picks to move up to get a premium player. The point here is that the draft is littered with quality wide receivers basically on a year-in, year-out basis at this point. You think about how the game of football has changed. It's become more pass-happy. There are a lot of 7-on-7s at the middle and high school level. Running backs aren't really getting paid any longer, even though Christian McCaffrey is very unique. He reset the running back market. He's really reset the running back market twice, right? He set the bar for the highest average annual value for running backs twice, 16 mil per year, and then on the contract extension, 19 mil. There's a big gap between McCaffrey and that next running back, and the reason why McCaffrey gets paid is because of the versatility, the receiving threat that he is. So young prospects coming up look at the running back position and they say, we're getting phased out. We're getting beat up. We're not getting paid. I don't want to play running back. I want to play wide out. And wideouts like Justin Jefferson are getting $35 million per year. So that's why the wide receiver pool, draft, free agency, is now very deep as far as depth goes. And there are plenty of options in which you could replace Aiyuk with 4 picks in the first 2 rounds if you're the Niners. Trade idea number 3, Packers-Niners Aiyuk trade, is a haul that brings San Francisco Christian Watson, who's entering year 3, and a 2025 second-round pick. The Packers get Aiyuk here. My thoughts on this move, you're allowing a rival to get better, a rival that nearly upset you in the divisional round of the playoffs, a rival that I think could be one of the sneaky teams that represents the NFC in the Super Bowl in New Orleans come February. Why would I want to give Jordan Love another weapon? The Packers are already very deep at the wide receiver position. Now you throw Brandon Aiyuk on that team, they're scary, scary. And they already have two really good tight ends. And you imagine with Jeff Hafley taking over as defensive coordinator, the former head coach for Boston College, he said, NIL, I'm done with that. Let me go to the NFL level. The Packers, the arrow is pointing up for that team. So Aiyuk goes there. I think that he could turn up in that offense. And Christian Watson, he's an intriguing player, right? Always has hamstring issues. He's been in the league 2 years. As a rookie, I thought he was impressive. 14 games played, 66 targets, 41 catches, 611 yards. He's certainly a big play threat. He's tall. He's fast. Nearly 15 yards per catch, 7 touchdowns. Great rookie campaign. He had hamstring issues then. And then in year 2, hamstring issues continue to hold him back. He only played 9 games. 53 targets, 28 catches, 422 yards, 15 yards per catch. So once again, right along that number, and 5 touchdowns in those 9 games. That's great. Has the long speed, can take the top off of the defense. He's explosive vertically. He can also climb the ladder, go up and get it. He has claimed that this offseason he went to a specialist to find the reason and get to the nitty-gritty as far as why he continues to have hamstring issues, but it's too big of a risk for me, and I don't like the return package. Then there's this one that's very intriguing, and I imagine a lot of people have been waiting for me to get to this. Appreciate your patience. Niners received Joey Bosa, edge rusher for the Chargers, who had his contract restructured by Los Angeles so that he could stay there. And then San Francisco also nets a second-round pick in 2025. The Chargers get Aiyuk, and then Justin Herbert has a great weapon. And Aiyuk is the perfect Jim Harbaugh type of player. Gritty, willing to get it out of the mud, former JUCO guy, goes to Arizona State, has developed into an all-pro, loves to block, has swagger, has physicality to his game, right? And my thoughts on this move, pairing up Joey and Nick Bosa, it's a fun thought. The Bosa brothers back together. I'm sure you would like that. New guy Matt because he went to Ohio State. But Bosa's injured frequently, and you're going to have to pay him. And you'd be paying Bosa, but not paying Aiyuk? Offense wins in today's NFL. I'm siding with offense over defense. And Bosa's barely played football the last 2 years. 14 combined games. Now, when he's been on the field, he's been a highly productive player. He's sneakily been in the league a long time. Look at those 2021 numbers. That's a glimpse into what he's capable of doing. 16 games, 10.5 sacks. But the injury issues are troublesome for me, especially for a big guy who also has foot problems too. So you can think about the brothers getting back together. Cool story. We know that Mama Bosa wanted that to happen and kind of shared an Instagram story revealing that it would be great for her. Of course, Mama Bear would want to see her 2 sons on the football field together, but I don't like the risk factor there, and I'd just rather keep Aiyuk all together. So which trade is the best? We brought you 4 thanks to our friends at Bleacher Report. The Steelers trade, the Packers trade, Jets or Chargers. Let me know down in the comments section. And don't forget to give me a follow on social media. Obviously, a lot of long-form content here on the Niners Report. I put out a ton of short-form content on the social media pages. I'm on X at Chase_Senior, approaching 13,000 followers. I'm on Instagram at Chase_Senior, approaching 30,000 followers. Don't be a stranger. Slide in the DM, say what's up. And as always, thanks for watching the show.